Hey guys, this is Garrett McLaughlin. Up next on Mobility Monday, we have the hip. So specifically on the hip, I want to touch on first an area that we often overlook. Again, we usually look at stretching hamstrings, quad, hip flexor, hip external rotators, glute, but a big neglected area is often these adductors, muscles of the groin to the inner thigh. And one thing we need to realize is we have our short adductors and long adductors. Some of these muscles come off the pelvis, attach on the femur kind of in this short fashion here. Other ones travel all the way down a little further and occasionally past the knee. So what we want to do, there's two different ways we can go ahead and mobilize those, which I'll show you in this post. So typically from an adductor standpoint, one exercise that I usually see most people struggling with is what's called the lateral squat. So in the lateral squat, you're in this offset position, you're sitting back into the hips, dropping down. Again, it is usually this leg right here, the leg that is straightening out. As we straighten out and drop back, we get this big stretch through the adductors and the muscles through the inner thigh. So if you notice that you're in a position where you're restricting, you're getting down, it's like I can't get all the way down to that position, I'm feeling a huge stretch through the inner thigh there, and it's tough to really sink in. And getting a little more mobility through the hips specifically, loosening up those adductors will be very important to be able to fully sink into that lateral squat position. So first thing what we want to do is go ahead, if you notice that's a problem, to go ahead with the foam roller. Again, a lot of people are missing this area as far as foam rolling, but it's very important to go in to help release and to break up any kind of adhesions through the muscle. So to foam roll here, what we're going to do when we get into this frog position, the foam roll is going to kind of be turned out to the side here, or kind of in line with the body. The leg is going to go straight out to the side so we can access through the inner thigh. You can start from the knee, go down into the forearms, and then nice and slow all the way up into the groin as far as you can to get to more of the tendinous area where the origins are of those muscles, and then nice and slow back down to your knee. So if you go down there and you notice any positions or any locations in the muscle that are tight or uncomfortable, you can go ahead and nice and easy move your knee around, try to rotate and rock on that spot where you get a better hold on that specific tender area. Again, going through the whole entire muscle all the way from the knee, again, right up to the pelvis and get far up into the groin there. So that's how you go ahead and mobilize the soft tissue from a foam rolling self-myofascial release standpoint. What we want to do next is go ahead and loosen up those muscles. So a good drill we have is what's called adductor or quadruped rocking. So two different ways we can do this. Again, we talked previously how the adductors, we have the short and long adductors, so two different ways that help access both of those. So as you get into these positions, see if there's one position that's easier to get into than the other. And usually the position that's harder to access and really sink into is the one that's the most restricted. So I would go ahead and add a few reps on that more restricted motion, help free up some length and range of motion through the adductors. So what we're going to do here, we're going to first start with the short adductor. So we go with the knees bent. We're going to rock down here onto the forearms. Our knees are out wide. Our feet are somewhat together. Again, they're not touching, but they're about 6 inches apart. Once you get into this position, again, if you can, get down to the forearms. A little hard to get that position, so it might be easier to start up on your hands. Again, to take a little stress off. And then all we're doing from there is just nice and easy rocking back onto the heels, hold, and then relax back up. So as we relax forward, we're taking tension off the adductors, and as we rock back, that's where we're really adding a big stretch and mobilization through the hip. So from here, again, if you get down to the forearms, get a little more intense, rock back, and then relax forward. Again, that is for the short adductors, muscles from the pelvis to the femur here of this top half. Now looking at the long adductors, what we can do is just kick that leg up. So straight leg, this leg here is in the same position. My right leg is straightening out, so I'm getting a bigger stretch through the entire length of the groin adductors here. Again, once again, your choice, hands or forearms, but if you're going down to that forearm position, make sure you're not off-centered. You want to make sure your body is completely lined up here between the legs and you're straight down there. If you notice you go to the forearms and you can't keep that position, you want to go up, ease off the position a little bit, go to your forearms, and then sink in a little better. Again, don't compromise your position to make it more difficult to get into a bigger stretch here. So what we're going to do here, get in that position, kick that leg out as far as you can, and then same thing, rocking back in, big stretch through the inner thigh there. Again, hold a second or two, and then rock back up. Again. So try that. Again, first I would say get into a lateral squat. See if you have any Again, any restriction, any inability to get down nice and low into that position, if you do, self-myofascial release, get on that foam roller, go through the quadruped adductor rocking drills, again, bent knee and straight knee to loosen up through the hips, specifically the adductors, the inner thigh. And again, I think you'll benefit. Again, a big area that people are often missing in a lot of programs is the adductors. Again, if we're walking in these positions or sprinting everything straight forward, we don't tend to recognize our restriction through these muscles. It's once we start moving laterally where we notice that restriction. So if you're not moving in those motions, this is something you might overlook in a lot of your program. So try that out. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you.